congratulations on everything. First of all, I know you've been working your butt off the last few years, and to do something like this is truly incredible. I saw you took Jesse to the premiere
Yeah,
as well, which would have been, I feel like that was it would have been like a special moment. How was that premiere and that experience for you?
yeah, it was really great. It was really great. It was awesome. I wasn't gonna go, I wasn't gonna go to the UK,
Yeah, right.
uh, because doing Wicked here and um, a whole bunch of life, different things, and
Sure.
I was on the phone to Simon, who wrote the script, and he was kind of like, I think everything else aside, to have that moment that night with your mates and your family would be pretty special. And it's one of those moments I think in the future you look back and you'll be like, damn, why didn't I do that? And looking back already, I'm kind of like, I'm so glad that I did that. So yeah, it was really special, really awesome, especially to share it with Jesse. I've seen the
Yeah.
film a few times now,
Mm.
and of course, every time you watch it, there's something new that you see. Um, I mean, to be fair, like the story wise, it's pretty much exactly the same as the script, and
Mm.
and so I've known the story and everything from day one of my involvement. But the best part about watching it now is seeing those close to me, those who because I've kind of sat on my hands, bit my tongue for the past 4.5, however long it's been,
Sure. Yeah,
years,
yeah.
spoiling anything for my nearest and dearest, and to watch them watch the film is really special.
It must be such an amazing experience, and to have a premiere of that size too, and have such a foundational role in the film must be so incredible. I've seen the movie twice now, and I love it, man.
Great.
It's honestly one of my favorite movies of the year. I'm not just saying that. I'm talking
I
to you.
know,
It genuinely was incredible. I
I
got to talk
know,
to
which is
Michael and Jono the other day, and
yeah,
just sort of gush to them about how much I loved it as well. It's a special film. It's one of those ones where I think the, I remember I was at the Actor Festival earlier this year and Michael was presenting this, and there was a complete no media allowed in there. And I was doing a couple of panels that day, and I just happened to be like in the green room at the time when Michael was there. And I went to like walk into the auditorium because I was like, oh, I wonder what's going on here. And a security guard like grabbed me by the back and ripped me, and he was like, you'll never find out what's going on in there. And then literally no, 6 months later, I'm like, it was a
yeah,
monkey. That's what they were
yeah,
hiding from me this
yeah,
whole time.
yeah.
Such a special
It
project.
it is just you know it's funny because from day dot,
Hmm.
everyone around me is going, "Oh, this is really special,"
Yeah, yeah,
obviously this is my first feature film,
yeah, yeah.
um, and the talk is, "Man, this is really great. Like this is really great. This is incredible," and you believe it, but at the same time you go, "Yeah, but like you know." Everyone wants the best film possible. Everyone's
Sure.
got has that morale, everyone's getting behind it. And then it just kept going and it kept going. And new people would come in and be like, this is just beautiful. Like the
Yeah.
script is just beautiful. Um, and then more people come in, and then people not directly involved in it, and then talking to people who don't know about my involvement in it, and they go, "Better Man is just a sensational film, and it's great." Because you don't look like that guy as well when you're saying that to your mates and stuff. Oh no, it's a really good film. And so I
Yeah.
haven't really been doing that. Um, it's cool now that people are finally starting to see it, and
Yeah.
everyone's going, "Oh my gosh, this film that you've talked about, Liam, is actually that incredible," because it is.
It truly is. It's electric and it's so and it's energetic and it's crazy. And then I was saying to Michael and John, and then as soon as Angels played, I'm in tears and I'm
Yep,
crying for the last 15, 20 minutes of the film. It's
I
just
know,
so
I know.
amazing, man. So a genuinely huge, not just for Better Man as well, but congratulations for everything you've been doing over the last few years. I know you're smashing Wicked at the moment. My partner, she saw it twice when it was here at QPAC. So
Oh, so good.
she passes on that she loved the show and thought you were great in it as well. So
Did she
um,
see myself and Ainsley? Because
I
I
think
came in for
she's
like,
I think she saw both of you. Yeah, I think she saw you once and then
Great,
Ainsley.
awesome,
So she's
awesome.
got the best of both worlds there.
That's
So
epic. Yeah, yeah, that's great.
so a genuine congratulations. But like, I'd love to sort of break down obviously this film with you as well. And obviously you're playing a real life person. There's someone here
Yeah,
with history and a storied career and one that was in the public eye. I'm curious to know what, when you first sort of started looking into Howard's life, what were those important key parts about him that you thought were the right things to get across on screen about him?
yeah. I mean, it's interesting, because I am playing a real person, and
Mm,
I was trying to be as truthful and honest to that real person as possible,
mm,
but at the same time, it's well, two factors here. It's not you know Howard Donald's film,
mm,
so obviously like, he's not the lead character, right? So
sure.
there are things that you will forego or negate or not do in order to push that story and make sure that the story that we're telling, Robbie's story, and the more general universal story behind just Robbie Williams and more themes about family and anxiety and substance abuse and all of that stuff that is really beautifully done in the film.
Mm,
Uh, we we're we are there to help that narrative,
sure.
um, and so sometimes you'll be doing your research and be like, oh, this is this, and you go, oh, actually, that's actually not that important to try and play here. And then
Interesting.
the other part is the fact that it's also Robbie's story told through Robbie's lens. And
Sure.
so it's not necessarily uh, you know, it's not like we're doing what's the format when like a
Mm.
doco, like a drama
Yeah,
doco where it's
like
like
a
it's got a really
it's not a biographical
yeah,
retelling or something. It's
yeah.
very
I'm
autobiographical, I
I'm
guess, right?
I've so I probably did more research into Robbie's relationship
Interesting.
into Take That and his relationship with Take That
Yeah.
and how he viewed them. And I did a lot of research into as much as I could
Mm.
into okay, where does Howard sit in the group dynamic and what is his relationship like racial relationships like with this and that and this and that and this. And I got to be, well, I tried to be at least the version of Howard that Robbie thought Howard was, if that
Right.
makes any sense.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah, which is still, I think, I've never met Howard. I was speaking to one of his mates at the UK premiere, and they were like, "Oh, do you play Howard in the film?" I was like, "Yeah," and he was like, "I spent summer with him. He's a great guy. He would love you. He would love the version of the film." And I was like, "Ah, that's good to know."
That's great. It's so interesting you frame it like that as well about having how Howard sits in Robbie's stories because I think the way we see Robbie's life, especially through his music, is very self-critical. It's very autobiographical. It's very reflective of
Yeah.
times in his life as well. So I'm curious to know how Robbie's songs sort of also affected the way you potentially see well how Howard fit in that dynamic and retrospectively hearing his songs, did any sort of change with the context of now knowing more about Robbie's story? How has Robbie's music sort of affected the process and all of that?
Yeah, so we spent about 4 months shooting this,
Yeah, wow.
um, which is crazy because you'll look at, I was there for 4 months,
Hmm.
and I think we had like 20 something shoot days. Just take that, um, and so the rest of it was just rehearsals,
Right. Wow.
or team bonding, getting that chemistry, so that when we were on set and whatever, and you see it, right, and you feel it because we're all close mates, we're all great mates. I literally just got a text from the group chat just then. Like we're
That's
still
awesome.
very much involved in each other's lives.
That's great.
Um, but every single day we'd just be consuming as much Take That and Robbie Williams media as possible.
Yeah.
Uh, I can't speak for the other boys, but as a group we normally would. If when we're in the makeup trailer, we'd be listening to Take That or be listening to Robbie.
Yeah.
Um, just living in that psyche and that world, that 90s, early 2000s world. I mean, for us boys, it was just the 90s.
Yeah.
Um, and I know I'm going on a bit of a tangent here.
No, no, please.
So also adding into that other bits of media from the 90s that could inform, you know, what was happening in the world of showbiz and what was happening in their lives and who they were competing against and, you know, this and that. Um, so yeah, the music played a big part in consuming that music. Um, you make a great point in talking about how retrospectively listening to Robbie's music now, you kind of go, "Oh my gosh, yeah."
Yeah.
"Come Undone" is never used to be one of my favorite Robbie songs. I always just kind of like it, but now that song has got like has a very big place in my heart. And not that wasn't during shooting. That was the first time I watched the film. I think that sequence is got to be one of the best sequences in the film. It just rocks me every single time. Uh, and the lyrics and the imagery and the yeah, it's stunning. It's really great.
I just got I genuinely just got goosebumps thinking about that because that Come Undone scene is truly incredible. Jono said the same thing about Come Undone. He said
Right.
he that when he was younger, that was just a good Robbie pop song. And then you
Yeah.
go through, you find out about his life, and just the lyrics take on such a different meaning now, and the way it's used in the film, and the beginning of this spiral is so profound and powerful. It's incredible. I think Robbie's music, especially as someone who like myself who loved it and now watching
Mm.
this film, there's this, I don't want to say sadness, there's not, but there's a lot of self-reflectiveness in it that is somber, and it kind of changes a lot, but just a credit to him and how good he is at
Yeah.
writing songs, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
there's that without spoiling anything, there's that
sure.
beautiful scene with Tom Budge, Guy Chambers, and Jono,
Yeah.
where they're writing, where they meet for the first time,
Mm.
and you know they talk about putting your like heart on the line, you know, and that creativity and that
Yeah.
and exposing yourself. And I think Robbie does that so well in
Yeah.
his lyrics. Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's a fantastic segue into, I have the quote written down from that scene about songs are only valuable if they cost you something, and I think that's
Yeah,
such a profound line of dialogue. And I think for artists that may hit closer to home, and it may be a big question, but I'm curious to know if you replace songs with just art in general, whether it is performing or writing and music or whatever, what does that sort of line of dialogue mean to you as an artist? Do you feel like there is something you kind of always have to give over to make art feel valuable as a performer?
yeah, I do absolutely, and it's something that I teach. Um, uh, yeah, I think every time that you set out to do something with a commercial mindset involved, or
Hmm.
I want to do this to make money, or to do this, or for exposure, or for that, it reeks of that. It just
Sure.
reeks of a lack of passion or a lack of, I mean, I don't want to use the word because it's a circular definition, but a lack of cost. Like it just lacks
Sure.
that
Yeah.
bit of soul where it's like when you walk into a room or step on a set or start writing down or whatever, and you go, I have to do this because someone out there, I really think someone will be changed or have an idea or be moved in some way, not in always in a deeply philosophical way, but it can be like I really want to make someone happy, you know, or I think this really needs to happen.
Yeah.
It's just so infectious and it's so palpable and that's the difference I think between great art and good art. Um, it's when it has that cost. Uh, I I say this to everyone who auditions. Um, don't go in. Uh, don't go in thinking, "What can this panel do for me?" Instead, go in thinking, "What can I do for the panel? Like, what can I
Mm.
give to them in this 30 seconds, 5 minutes, 20-minute audition that I have? So all of a sudden it doesn't become about booking a gig. It doesn't become about money. It doesn't become about career, it becomes a a a platform where you can tell a story, or you can do something, or you can give a little bit of that, and that at the end of the day is what I think art is all about.
If
You know,
it's important for you to teach that, do you remember the first time you learnt that lesson? Was it watching a performance? Was it someone who bestowed that upon you, I guess, that knowledge? Do you remember that first time you sort of encountered that feeling that art kind of changed you?
great question. Great question.
Because it seems to me that it means a lot to you. That's the thing. I think
Yeah.
there's no maybe no easy answer for that, but it seems to me that it feels like such a
Yeah, I can't.
palpable moment for you for yourself. Yeah.
Maybe I'll wake up in the middle of the night tonight and go like, "Oh my gosh, this is what I should have done." But I can't put my finger on a specific moment.
Sure.
But especially as a kid growing up and um, watching film, or theater, and you know watching something and thinking, "Oh, I want to go see that again," or "Oh man, that really makes me want to create," or
Yeah.
"Oh, that was just awesome," or it was never the for me at least, it was never the big number or the big whatever. It was always um the just like the performances that just made you go, "Wow, that rocked my world." Uh, I mean, more present day, just things, just things. TV shows like Succession, right, is just
Yeah.
absolutely beautiful. You can see the artistry and the cost and everything that goes into it. And Marriage Story was one of those films for me.
Oh wow, yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that Adam Driver performance is next level in that
yeah,
film. I
yeah,
was talking about that with someone the other day about the karaoke scene in that and just
mm,
how much pain can come from
mm.
one moment. It's just incredible. That's incredible performance. And Succession is if every actor, I feel like they could be like Jeremy Strong, they probably would, right? Like that's I think
Yeah,
that's a that's a dream for those guys.
yeah,
Thank you for sharing that, man. I really appreciate it. I know it's a big question, but
yeah,
I think the passion for it really comes through. I'll pivot a little bit because I want to talk about we talked about the Come Undone scene and how great
yeah.
that was. I think my favorite scene in the film is the rock DJ scene. It's hard to not be caught up in how electric and fun that scene is, and how Michael sort of used that to narratively push the story forward and take us through
Yeah.
time. I think is genuinely incredible. You're no stranger to big set pieces on the stage and performing these elaborate choreographed pieces. I'm curious to know what the experience was like when you put a camera in front of you and you're doing multiple takes over multiple days. Is there any unique similarities or differences to pulling off a choreographed piece like Rock DJ as opposed to something you might do on stage for Wicked or anything like that?
Yeah, great question. No, I think it's in one hand much easier, in one hand much harder.
Wow.
We did a astronomical amount of takes. Is that the right word? I don't, who cares?
Yeah, yeah, no, astronomical is yeah, I could imagine that would be
I can't, I don't know, like in the realm of like, I'm pretty sure when we go into the music studio and come on, I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
wanna, that, I think we did like 38 takes of that. Um,
Wow.
we
Yeah.
were just gunning it every single time. And
Wow.
man, I was knackered. Like to take it away from Rock DJ for the Relight
Yeah.
My Fire
Yes.
bit, that was we were just sending it and sending it and sending it and sending it, which is so funny, right? Because you watch the film and you kind of go, oh yeah, like
It's another
it's a
performance,
great,
right? Yeah.
yeah. But we did like 2 days of close-ups and coverage and this and that. I remember
Wow.
on one of the days, um, uh, we had to like I was shaking. I was so, and it was also summer, and or coming at the end of summer in Melbourne, and hot for some reason, and oh
Mm.
yeah, we're in that massive costume, and I was in that stupid wig, and it was a beautiful wig. It was just so annoying and so itchy, and the facial hair, um, yeah, I remember just sweating and shaking and being so tired.
Mm.
Um, which you don't get in musical theatre because you do it
Sure.
once and then you shove off to your dressing room um,
And
and you
that's
play
that for
Candy.
the day.
Yeah, yeah. But no, we were really working, really working hard in that film. Um, and then you had the days where we had dialogue and you just kind of just got to chill out, which was really nice. Um, but when we were dancing. Uh, yeah, there did feel, you get multiple takes, which is really great. But on Regent Street, we had that time crunch, and
Sure,
if you
yeah.
ever watch the film again, or just the Rock DJ bit again,
Mm.
you'll notice that because obviously it looks like it's all done in
Like
London,
in one
but
shot,
we did
yeah.
it in Melbourne, we did it, yeah, and
Mm.
so we had to cut it all up, and for
Wow.
some stupid reason, I happened to be um there were several moments where they had to sync me up, whatever.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
and this one moment in particular, the shot was like a minute or whatever afterwards. And so if I got it right, if I did the cut right, I'd be thinking, oh, thank goodness. And then I'd be thinking, oh my gosh, now I have a minute left. Don't stuff it up. You know what I mean?
oh,
Like I don't want
true,
to
yeah,
stuff
yeah.
up the rest of it because then we have to reset, and all we have is we only have one night to do this in Regent Street, and this and that and this and that and this, and there's a time crunch, and if we don't get it, then we don't get it.
Yeah,
There's no, oh, you stuffed up tonight in Density to Life. Tomorrow you can make it better.
yeah,
You can
yeah,
just you can sorry to those 2,000 people who saw me do that poor dance move, whatever.
yeah,
But tomorrow it'll be better. If you didn't get it on the night, you just didn't get it. But we did, which is great. But
yeah.
I remember the final night in particular for it. It was just about to start to rain. It was just like, and the weather had cleared for us, and we were very grateful.
Yeah.
And Michael hadn't gotten it yet. He hadn't gotten the take, and we all knew he hadn't gotten the take. And we're all like, oh my gosh, every take from here on out has to be perfect because I will not be the reason as to why
Mm.
the last shot and perhaps what will go down as one of the best dance um, pieces in cinema history
Mm.
isn't perfect. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And so
yeah,
you're
yeah.
thinking that can't be me. That cannot be me. And so then you have that bit of pressure as well.
Wow.
Um, yeah, which is kind of great, but also terrifying.
I can imagine it fuels adrenaline at least for the performance,
Yeah,
right? Like to get through
yeah.
that, having to redo it and redo it and redo it. It does that. Is that a similar feeling that sort of nervousness to get it right? Can you draw any similarities to that to the first time you walked on stage? Is that a similar feeling, or were they two completely different things for you?
No, they're different.
Sure.
I've got mad performance anxiety, which I'm
Right.
working through, which is
Yeah.
really great. So just on stage, pretty much,
Mm.
and it's gotten a lot better.
Mm.
But opening nights, I'd be puking up into the toilet. I don't want to go
Oh
on
wow.
stage, like, ah. And then you
Yeah.
go on and you're kind of like blanking out, and it all works. And that, especially through when I was in Jagged Little Pill, that whole contract for me, I look back and I go, I can't believe I auditioned for anything else after that because that was
Wow.
just so much for me.
Yeah.
Um, and I remember booking this film and going, "Oh, thank goodness," because I booked it during Jagged. I think, "Oh,
Wow.
thank goodness, I don't have to go on a stage. It's just a film." And then that first day of rehearsals, Michael walks in, and and what is he? Oh man, I haven't thought
Good.
about this in so long. He talks about Rod Laver and how we're going to be shooting it live in front of 16,000 people, and we only get one chance. And I go, this is exactly what I was running away from.
Yeah.
Like this is what I
Yeah.
did not want.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he's like,
I can
yeah,
imagine.
so this is we only get one chance, maybe two if we're lucky.
Wow.
Um, yeah, and just thinking, damn, that sucks. That sucks. And
Yeah.
then we talk about Rock DJ, And he said, we're going to do heaps of rehearsals now because I'm not getting to London. I'm not flying over to London. You know, he didn't say, I'm sounding like he was saying this very nicely. And he's like, but we're not going to go to London.
You
And
understood the tone behind it though. You're like, I
yeah, yeah,
get what
yeah,
you're
yeah, yeah.
saying. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. We're not going to look and have you guys stuff up. So make sure that you know it, like
yeah.
the back of the front. And I'm pretty sure he said this first day, and this is Michael Gracie, director of Greatest Showman. And
The
I'm thinking, and he's like, and you can't stuff, and he looks at me and he says, "I'm looking at you, Liam. Don't stuff up," as a joke. And it was, and all the boys go ha 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 ha, and I go ha 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 ha.
No
Oh yeah,
pressure. No
no,
pressure
not
at
at all,
all.
not at all.
Oh, well, if it's any consolation, man, like I said, that scene, that rock DJ scene is incredible. The chemistry you guys have together as the take that group is so energetic and powerful on screen. I think you're fantastic in the film. I think they're all fantastic in the film, man. Like is genuinely it came across so well. I guess maybe you could kind of see it as like a blessing in disguise of having to face that on that day
Mm,
of those rehearsals, right? Like what
yeah,
you might have been running away from is, you know, if that makes you a better performer, that's, I guess, in
yeah.
retrospect, almost like listening to Robbie
Well,
songs.
and so much of the film is about just that, right? I
Yeah, for
remember,
sure.
uh, I just I'd been offered it, maybe I can't remember, and they'd sent me the script to read. Um, and of, you know, I remember I was flying home to Brisbane from Melbourne after an audition or whatever,
Mm,
and I was reading it, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, I guess I've got 2 hours. I'll read the script."
mm,
And I was sitting next to this lovely lady, I'm sure, and I just start sobbing in this script. Just even on page, it was special. It was
yeah.
really special. And seeing the journey, and for me, I was like, that's me. That's me.
Wow.
That's me. Like,
Yeah.
when are you posting this podcast, by the way? Is the film going
Uh,
to be out to
Probably
talk about it, or is it?
Friday. It'll be
All
just
right, I'll,
before the movie. But if you want to, we can save some stuff we can release afterwards as well. Yeah, yeah.
no, no, no. Well, sure. Well, it's just the idea of Robbie looking out and people are like, what are you so nervous about?
Mm,
Like all these people, they're NPCs or they're muggles or whatever,
yeah.
and it's like no, no, no. For me, I'm looking at 2,000 people look of 2,000 versions of me, looking back at
Yeah.
me and judging me, and
Far
and
out. Yeah.
knowing me, and and if I do anything, uh, for example, last night we had a show, and
Mm,
I just didn't like my thank goodness scene. I just didn't like it, and I walked off and no, no, it wasn't even thank goodness. It was the train station scene. Tiny scene, really small. And it was
yeah.
one beat that I just didn't get. And I was so ticked off at myself.
Mm,
And for like half a beat, right? I'm much better now, which is good. But for half a beat, if this happened like before the film, I would have gone, oh my gosh, that was so terrible. That scene was shocking. The audience is going to this and that. They
mm,
don't care. They don't care. There's just 2,000 versions of me looking at myself, right?
yeah.
So that bit in it and that whole how that works and it's just beautiful. And as I was reading it, I was going, "That's me. That's me." I see myself there, and to see him work through it, I was like, "So you're saying there's a chance, you know?"
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Absolutely.
uh,
I think that's a
yeah,
testament to the power of people, and I think especially men. I've had the chance to do a few junkets recently that have really touched on films about men's mental health
yeah,
and the vulnerability that men can sort of feel like they can show now in that way really can resonate for a lot of us, especially us who are watching it and going through that and seeing someone who is established as Robbie Williams, who has gone through so much, done so much, and then you look at him now and you're like, this guy's a legend, and this guy
yeah,
is incredible, and he's talented, and he knows he made some mistakes, and he knows he had a tough time, but like you said, we can come out of it, and I think seeing those stories is so powerful. Like there's no other
yeah,
word for it, right? And I think this script is like you said, I'm not shocked that you were so affected by it initially, and that was one of the elements of the film that caught me so off guard in a good way is when he starts seeing those versions of himself when And as they
Mm,
get that last stage is so critical of that stage before and the stage before. It's just so
yeah.
such an interesting representation of how we can be our own worst critics and our worst enemy in those ways, for sure.
I remember talking to a mate because I have my bum out in the film, right?
Yes.
Um, yeah, yeah. And he was like, "Oh, how could you? Yeah, that's crazy. How could you do that?" And I said to him, he didn't really understand. I said to him, and he was kind of just having a laugh, whatever.
Yeah.
And he was I gave him this pseudo serious response, and I'm sure he was kind of like, "Yeah, all right, mate." But I said, I would do a lot more for this film, uh,
Yeah.
because it really will heal, I think,
Mm.
a lot of people, um, as it did me. Being a part of it, I think it has um, a big role to play in my own mental health,
Yeah.
and that is a credit to not only Rob for um, being candid enough to share, but to Simon and Ollie and Michael for writing this
Yeah.
beautiful script. I just can't get over it enough. And I really hope, I don't hope, I know it will, uh, uh, get the recognition it deserves. And that's why I'm so excited. It's what, the 16th?
Mm.
And finally things are starting to come out, and
Yeah.
people like messages now, people go to see screenings. Oh my goodness, I did not expect that. Oh my gosh, this is stunning. I was sobbing for the last 20 minutes.
Yeah.
People are going to see it and they're going to go, whoa, whoa, that's crazy.
I agree.
Yeah.
I 100% agree. What started as the Robbie Williams monkey movie, I agree, is simply just so much more than that. And like I said, I've had the chance to see it twice. I will be seeing it again. My partner's mum is the biggest Robbie Williams fan in the world, so we've already organized tickets to go see it after
Great.
Boxing Day as well.
Yeah.
I think that's a perfect place to sort of to leave the conversation there. It's so powerful, man. I really appreciate you being so candid and open and talking about this with me, man. I really appreciate it. And it's a great film. You are great in it. I cannot sing more highly for praise for yourself in this film and everything that you and this collaborative group have done together, man. It's a truly beautiful movie, and congratulations again for everything you're doing. I know you're killing it in Wicked at the moment, which must feel great. I know the movie and the show playing side
Yeah.
by side must be like such a weird and interesting phenomenon. So congratulations on that as well,
Thank
man.
you.
I think
Yes.
I really appreciate you taking the time to chat today, man.
Thank you so much.